From the sky. This is Leo Knighton Tallarico and Deborah Knighton Tallarico, co-host. She'll be on the second half of this show. Um, so I'll just mention it, and Deborah's going to expand on it. But we're at the very end of cycles, winter cycles, lunar cycle, and that shifts. We got big shifts coming up week ahead. Right now we're in the dark of the lunar cycle because the new moon is Tuesday. So the moon is darkening every day. And then Tuesday begins the shift, actually Wednesday, before you'll actually see the light when the true new moon will start. But the shifting time, the turning point, will be on Tuesday at the new moon. Now, on the solar cycle, so to speak, in astrology, we pretty much consider springtime or the beginning of Aries as the beginning of the year. So when the sun moves into Aries on Monday, which is the spring equinox, that's the beginning of the solar cycle's new realities of the year. So sun moves into Aries on Monday. Happy springtime, everyone, on Monday. And on Tuesday, new moon in Aries. Do you want to know some times on all that? Okay, well, we're going to give you some times. So the spring equinox will be at 5:24 p.m. Eastern and at 2:24 Pacific. That's the spring equinox. And the new moon in Aries will be at 1:23 p.m. Eastern and 10:23 a.m. Pacific. And if you're Central or Mountain, you're in between there. So that's the beginning of the shifting of energies. It doesn't mean like all of a sudden, oh, God, everything is great now and I don't feel depressed or tired anymore. But you will feel the shift at least. Sun moves into Aries Monday, spring equinox. Tuesday, the moon joins with the sun for a new moon in Aries. Remember again, sun and moon, same degree of the same sign, new moon. Sun in one sign and degree, in the opposite sign and degree is the moon, full moon. So the new solar cycle starts on Monday, the new lunar cycle starts on Tuesday. And, we go from the watery, oceanic Pisces energy, which is really good for surrender and going internally, doing some deep healing, grieving, feeling your feelings. Sometimes that can be a lot of sadness, a lot of grief sometimes, a lot of memories of the past during Pisces time of year. And that's good too, We need times like that. But now with Aries coming up, it's time to get moving forward. Not all at once, but the beginning of moving forward. It's almost like sleeping during the winter. Oh, wake up. Spring equinox on Monday. New moon in Aries on Tuesday. Time to wake up a little bit at least. You don't have to move fast forward. But it's time, and you'll feel it. You don't have to push yourself. You're going to feel the shifting into that new energy. That's not the only new energy coming up this week. Venus will move from Capricorn to Aquarius on Thursday. So that opens things up a little bit too, because, Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, so that's gravity. And then in Aquarius, there's a lot of responsibility and things like that in Capricorn. There's things you got to deal with. And then when it moves into Aquarius, which is an air sign, things will lighten up a little bit more. Then we have other shifts that are happening on the 23rd. Also on the 23rd, Pluto moves out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. Since we're in the age of Aquarius, this is a pretty big movement. Pluto, the guardian of the underworld, transformational planet, moving into Aquarius. You want to know the last time Pluto was in Aquarius? This is how slow slowly Pluto moves. Last time was during the American and French Revolution. So in the late 1700s was the last time Pluto was in Aquarius. And back then it was there for 20 years. And this time it's also going to be in for 20 years. I'll tell you how that works, though. It's in Aquarius. End of the year, it's going to go back into Capricorn for a while and back up to Aquarius. And then in 2024, it'll also go back into Capricorn for a little while and then go forward into Aquarius. So it won't be until the end of 2024 that Pluto is solidly for 20 years without interruption in Aquarius. So what does that mean? So back during the revolutionary times, what's really interesting, I think I mentioned it last time, but what's really interesting is during that time that Pluto was in Aquarius, the end of the 1700s, American and French Revolution, Uranus was discovered during that time too. Pluto went into Aquarius in 1777, and Uranus, the Aquarius planet, see how the universe works so magically? Uranus, the planet of Aquarius, the ruling planet of Aquarius, was discovered in 1781 during the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius. French and American revolutions tell us a lot about what Aquarius is like and tell us a lot about what Uranus is like. Breaking away from the authorities telling us what our lives are to be. America breaking away from King George. France breaking away from their royalty and giving the power to the people. How do we know that that's what Aquarius and Uranus mean? Look at the Constitution that was put together of America during that time. You know, it's about equality. It was about freedom, liberty, breaking away from the kings and queens and authority figures that dominate the way that humans were. So now, you know, we don't have that many kings and queens with that much power nowadays. You know, you got Queen, King of England, that kind of thing. But, you know, they don't really have that much power. They have power over people's imaginations and their desires for something to be better than them, royalty. But, you know, when you get a president of a country who dominates and doesn't really listen to the people through voting or through otherwise, it's the same thing. It's still royalty telling the human family what to do, who to be. Power to the people, of the people, by the people, for the people. Aquarius in the Constitution. However, it's not just for America. That's from the divine, that inspiration. That's for everybody. Diversity within unity. America's been a pioneer on a lot of these things. Remember that. Very much so. I mean, you can't just overlook the fact that, you know, people came from Europe and they wiped out the Native Americans quite a lot. We cannot overlook that. That's horrible. But nevertheless, you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. There still were some important principles brought to this country by those Europeans, all the things I just mentioned, that we have to honor because they're important, even though the people that brought it did horrible things. And then, of course, slavery on top of it. But the principles are good principles regardless of that. Again, that's why I like the baby with the bathwater thing, you know. Kind of applies in this kind of a situation. Those are great principles regardless. The messenger sometimes is not a pure messenger. It's contaminated messengers. But the message can still be a good one. So, speaking of back then and now, the United States also is experiencing its first Pluto return. Started in 2022 and continues now in 2023. Pluto in the United States natal chart in their second house. It is the military-industrial complex. So as we have a Pluto return means Pluto was at 27 plus degrees of Capricorn when the United States was born in 1776. And it's taken this long, 48 years, to go back to 27.5 degrees of Capricorn. That's a Pluto return. Other planets have, like more quicker returns, like the moon, every 2.5 days has a return. The sun every year, just like when it's your birthday, that's a solar return. Sun takes a year. Venus takes a little over a year, like a year and a half. Mars takes about 2 years. Jupiter, 12 years. Uranus, 84. Neptune, 165. Pluto, about 245, 250 years to make its cycle. So it's our first, United States' first Pluto return. And it has evolved into the military-industrial complex. My opinion of the military-industrial complex, it's the empire. It's the tool of the empire. You control through money and military. Money and military control the world. Don't they? So now we're in a time of that Pluto return, which means transformation around the military-industrial complex. And we add that to the fact that the Age of Aquarius started winter solstice 2020, and Pluto's moving into Aquarius. Remember, Saturn was conjunct Jupiter at 0+ degrees of Aquarius on that winter solstice. And to me, that was the beginning of kind of an official beginning or marking point about the Aquarian age. So besides the Pluto return, we have to look at what does the Age of Aquarius mean? Well, look at what Uranus, when it was discovered back then. Look at the American Revolution. We know what a lot of it is. So we look out in the world and we see the war that's going on between Russia and Ukraine, or actually between Russia and Western world. Let's be real. We know that it's about the fighting for how this geopolitical structure of the world is going to be. In 2014, there was a duly elected president in Ukraine who leaned toward Russia. Duly elected, fair election. In 2014, there was a coup that overthrew that president. And most people believe that the Western world had a lot to do with the coup. Coup meaning no vote, just overthrow somebody. And the military takes over and they put in somebody else. And they put in someone who favors the Western world. Oh my God, really? Come on, wake up. This is the way the world runs. This is the way the world has been running in the old world, in the patriarchal structure, in the old age. The new age is equality, diversity within unity. So the war that's going on there is not going to be the only war. There's more wars coming. That's just reality of what's happening. Does that mean that we have to drop into the rabbit hole of fear? No. We need to transform the fear, transform the us versus them inside each one of us. You can't change what's going to go on out there, but you can change what's going to go on out there by what you do inside yourself, how you transform yourself. And when you move beyond us versus them inside yourself, you're adding another strong message and energy to the soul of this world that there's other ways to do this. And the Aquarian age is like a portal opening for these new ways to do it. So you've got those portals of energy supporting you to make this shift inside yourself. To make the shift inside yourself that love and truth are inside of you as they are in the universe, running the universe. We, the human family, have contaminated what goes on this earth. I know I've talked to a lot of people before who says, God, spirit, goddess, what, are you living in a dream world? How can there be any of that when there's all this terrible stuff going on in the world? How could you believe in anything like that? Unity, love. What dream world are you in? You know, I say, if I give you a park, perfectly beautiful park, this earth, and you contaminate it and destroy it, and you blame me? You blame me who just gave you this beautiful park? This is what we've done. We've contaminated our park. And now we need to heal it. Look at how we've destroyed it with all of our chemicals and things like that, and the oil. And we need to change it. We need to change it. Remember, the power is not outside ourselves in the Age of Aquarius. The power is inside ourselves, which means not only freedom, because a lot of people, freedom means, I can do what I want whenever I want to do it. I'm free. No, freedom has responsibility with it. If we're given freedom, then we have to use that freedom in a way that makes our human family better, makes the earth better, makes the world better. That's real freedom. Not to do whatever you want whenever you feel like doing it. So, this is what we're moving into. This is good. But it's going to have not so good at times. Yeah, the wars are there. Looking ahead to the eclipses. First one, April 19, 20th, overnight, depending on where you live. 29, almost 30 degrees of Aries, almost into Taurus, 29.5 something in Aries. Second one, May 5th, at almost 15 degrees of Scorpio, which means, since it's a lunar eclipse, it's a full moon, which means the sun and the moon will be opposite each other at almost 15 degrees of Taurus, where the sun will be, Scorpio, where the moon will be. Eclipses. So an eclipse is like a full moon. A lunar eclipse is a full moon on steroids, 10, 20 times more powerful than a normal full moon. And a solar eclipse is a new moon on steroids, 10 or 20 times stronger than the usual new moon. And this is Aries, the first one, the solar eclipse, new moon. Powerful, which, by the way, since you listen to when this coming Tuesday, there's a new moon in Aries. This doesn't happen all the time. We have 2 new moons in Aries this year. One will be at 1 degree of Aries, the one on the 21st, and then there'll be the one that's at almost or over 29 degrees of Aries, the second one, on the 19th, 20th of April. So what goes on in the world with these? Okay, so the first one, let me explain the whole signature of it. The first one will have Jupiter in Aries conjunct that solar eclipse new moon. And even more powerfully, and even closer, Pluto in Aquarius will be very closely squaring that Aries new moon. That Pluto that just moved into Aquarius, guardian of the underworld, power of transformation, death of the old, rebirth into the new, right into that signature. It will square the United States Pluto military industrial complex. It will light up Israel's chart. The second one at 15 degrees of Taurus Scorpio, that one will square China's Mars-Pluto conjunction in Leo, almost to the minute. There's a decent chance that China will invade Taiwan this springtime or early summer. Decent chance. I don't say for sure it'll happen. Decent chance. There's going to be a turning point around the issues around Israel and Iran, and around China and Taiwan, and around Russia and Ukraine. All those are going to have turning points. And remember, we're moving toward equal power around the world. But we don't get that by sitting down. Unfortunately, the way the world is right now, we don't get it by people sitting around a table and saying, we need to make things more equitable and equal in this world. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Like, it's time that it's more equitable without one country being an empire. You're starting at the beginning of this age, by the way, and not this age, but the Pisces age. When Christ was born, that was around the time of the Pisces age beginning. And what was going on then? The first really mammoth empire on the earth, the Roman Empire. And we've had a whole bunch of empires since then. And now we need to say goodbye, empires. We need to have equality, diversity with unity in this world. And the universe is going to make sure that we do. But being the stubborn species that we are, we fight that. Why do we fight it? Because if you've got power and you've got wealth, unfortunately, too many people, if they have power and wealth, will not go to a world of equality easily. They want to hold on to their power and they want to hold on to their wealth. They have not evolved yet. Well, say whatever you want. They have not evolved yet. So we're moving into a world. You're part of the new evolution. We're a part of the new evolution. And it's about equality, equal power, equal wealth. And I'm not talking, well, you're a communist. Forget about the labels that make you go, I'm not going to go in that direction. It's not about communism, socialism per se. It's about the principle of equality and dividing things equally between people. Does that mean exactly equally? No, there's got to be some kind of incentive for people. I understand and I agree. Incentive does help people do better, but not to the point where one person's a multi-billionaire and the other person can't find anything to eat today. That kind of wide span between people cannot continue. What happens to the people that don't have anything? What happens to them besides they have a miserable life? What does the miserable life get them to do when they don't have anything? Crime. Nobody wants to starve. Oh no, well, you didn't listen. You didn't pay attention to the law. You stole that loaf of bread. I'm putting you in jail. Really? They stole a loaf of bread because they had nothing to eat. So this world is changing. And, and as we leave the Piscean age, we need to bring Pisces age consciousness with us, Christ consciousness with us. What do I mean by that? Compassion for those that suffer. It's not about following rules of a religion. It's about going to the essence of what people like Christ and Muhammad brought to our human condition. Peace be upon you, Muslim. We need to take in these ways of being, not the churches, but the essence of the religions, why they started in the first place. So we need to bring Christ consciousness with us, Muhammad consciousness with us, Moses consciousness with us, etc. Buddha consciousness with us. This is what we need in our new world so that we have a good spiritual foundation to it. Now, let me tell you something else about Aquarius, is something else that we have to really do some strong work with as a human family. Aquarius is not naturally that connected to the body, to biology. Our gay brothers and sisters, our LGBTQ brothers and sisters, do not fit the biological necessity of bringing new children to the earth, the biological necessity of that, right? That's Aquarius. However, we have found new ways, which is part of what Aquarius is, technology, being able to have children, and that doesn't come straight out of you, right? I don't want to go through all that, but you know what I mean. So people that are LGBTQ, they are able to bring children into the world. They just can't bring it in the old biological way. So one of the challenges of being with Aquarius, which is not so connected to our biological, to our bodies, to the earth even, is to make a concerted effort to make sure that we stay connected to the needs of our earth and to the needs of our body, while at the same time allowing, it's an Aquarian age, it's being different, it's being outside the box, it's being not like everybody else, it's being not about the biological necessity. It's about improving our souls, improving our minds into a new place. But we need to take our bodies with us as much as we can, and we need to take the health of the earth with us as much as we can. That's a challenge of the new age. And technology is the other part, right? I mean, look at some of the things that we do with technology. We're like all over the place in our heads. Virtual reality, uh, new ways of doing movies, robots. I mean, we've got all sorts of things that change our life, and they're going to continue to change our life. You want to wipe that out? It's not going to happen. So you've got to be able to develop a relationship between where we're headed with those things and keeping connected, like our indigenous people keep connected to the earth. Our ancestors kept connected to the earth. We need to stay in touch with those elements so that we don't go too fast forward into this Aquarian age beyond what we need to do for our earth and what we need to do for our bodies. That doesn't mean we don't take in new ways of being with our bodies that maybe will extend our lives beyond just the way nature means for it. Yeah, let's experiment with that. Let's see where it goes. But let's make sure we keep true to our bodies, and we keep true more than ever to our beautiful Mother Earth, who holds us, takes care of us. We can't take her for granted, just like we do with our human mothers. I mean, look how often that happens to people. Come on. Don't you do it? I've done it. You take advantage. You just say, oh, well, yeah, she's there. She's taking there. Look, she's doing all that. Good, good, good. You forget about it. It gets done by someone else. No, you got to appreciate it. When you appreciate and when you love, you build a good relationship with. You don't take for granted. So we got a lot of work to do as part of our consciousness transformation and consciousness expansion, but we are going to do it. And we're not going to do it by hating those that are different than us. And if we hate the Trumpsters, or we hate conservatives, or we hate people that are doing things differently than we are the same then. We haven't transformed. If you hate people that are different than you, even if you think they're wrong, so we're supposed to hate them, no, you don't hate them. And you try to listen to what they've got underneath their presentation to offer. I mean, right now, Trump is talking about doing something about war, about not wanting war. I don't know what his motivation is. It doesn't matter to me. That message is a good one for us. We need to get rid of the kind of wars that we have on this earth. You know why it's really important right now? We have weapons of mass destruction. We have nuclear weapons. If we keep going with us versus them, look what's happening now with Russia versus the Western world and Ukraine. Look what's happening. We're getting close to a nuclear weapon being dropped. Biological will follow. Do you follow me? We can't allow this kind of war to happen. And I believe, because I've done a lot of work lately with people that have experienced UFOs and ETs and things like that, and I teach classes in that regard of visiting other planets and other places where ETs might exist. They're real. And I sense that if we get super close to the nuclear weapon being dropped, they're going to show themselves. Maybe I'm in a dream world. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking, but I don't think so. I think that it's getting to be close to time where the human family is not so self-centered, human family on Earth, to think that we're the only ones in this universe. That's impossible. So it's getting close to time when we learn that making community, Aquarian, diversity within unity, community, that's going to include beyond this planet. I hope while I'm still alive, we see some of that. So, we're getting close to getting Deborah here. That's gonna be really nice, isn't it, everybody? So, I think I've talked long enough today. I'm hoping Deborah puts a nice meditation in as part of her presentation today. And then we'll be back. Uh, we're not ending today. Deborah's coming on, but I just want to let you know while I'm speaking that we'll be back in 2 weeks from today at 1 o'clock Pacific again. And then we're going to be on 2 weeks from then. We're going, which is the 15th of April, with my friend and Vedic astrologer, Dennis Harness, is going to be a guest on our show. And I'm really looking forward to that. And that'll be on April 15th. And you'll still see Deb and I too, but it'll be nice to have Dennis on the show. He's got a lot of wonderful things to say. So for now, let me switch over to Deborah Knighton Tallarico. I think Deb, you ready to come on, honey? Okay, come on. Let me bring you on.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Leo, for your wonderful overview of what's going on astrologically. It really resonated a lot. And I just wanted to say I may not be on some of the radio shows in April because I'm doing a training, but I'll be there in spirit if I'm not there physically. So I think I'm going to piggyback on some of the things you said during my time.
Okay.
But I wanted to talk about, did you want to keep the split screen?
No, I'm going to leave and let you speak.
Okay.
And then maybe toward the end of when you're speaking, I'll come on and we can have a little bit of saying goodbye. We'll see you next.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm going to leave right now, Deb.
Okay.
You can take over. Okay, honey? See you later.
Thanks. So I just wanted to, like I said, piggyback on what Leo said, in that right now it's the ending of the lunar cycle of Pisces and also the zodiac cycle, the cycle of the sun, because Pisces is the last sign. So I don't know about any of you, but I know for myself, I've been starting to feel like a heaviness that needs to be like lifted. And, as we get ready for spring, it's often a time where we start preparing to do a spring cleanse. And so I just want to recommend to everyone this weekend is to just let yourself really surrender and let go as much as you can, because it is the ending, whenever it's an ending of these cycles of the moon and the sun, it is a time, it's a dark time in a way. Not, I don't mean dark as a negative, but it's like surrendering to the void, to the darkness, and just letting go so that you can be that clear energy, like a newly tilled soil of a garden, to plant the new seeds. Because as Leo talked about, it's going to be huge new beginnings, truly, when we have the equinox and then two new moons in Aries and eclipse season. So now's the time this weekend and before the equinox on Monday to just, see what needs to be weeded out. See what the heaviness that you've maybe taken on from the winter, and just begin to shed it. Maybe take, a really nice bath with salts to just really release what you don't want to bring with you into the spring. Not that there's necessarily been a rough winter, but whatever it is for you that is weighing heavy on you, to just kind of start the process of releasing it as you start preparing for whatever spring cleaning of your house, your home, your sacred spaces, your gardens, and your body. And I know for myself, I always do spring cleanses for my body. So this is the time to start thinking of that. And I love the metaphor of a garden. And what I've been doing is I've been cutting away a lot of the dead things from last year, to make way for the new growth coming up, like pruning plants and things like that. And that's kind of on a metaphoric level. That's what we're doing right now. We're like cutting away the dead from the last year, from the last season, so the new shoots can come up. And it's so awesome when you have a plant, you cut out all the dead, and then there you see way down near the ground the new leaves and the new shoots coming up. And so that's like a guiding metaphor for us right now to do that. So we're clearing away the old so the new little green can emerge. And also, yesterday was St. Patty's Day. And what St. Patty's Day really is about, it's not just about partying and drinking green beer. It's really to honor the greening of the earth and the spring that's coming in, because the earth is starting to green and come to life. At least here where I live, it is. And there may be bulbs poking their heads out, even if you live in a place that might still have snow. So those buds are truly just starting to come out. So we're preparing the soil, so to speak, of our inner soil to plant the new seeds for spring. So spring is that time of the equal balance of light and dark, whenever it's an equinox. And I just want to acknowledge that when it's the equinox, the sun is positioned at the equator. So in the southern hemisphere, it's their autumn equinox, and they're moving into the autumn season. And up here in the northern hemisphere, with the sun at the equator, the sun is moving north rather than south. So we have our spring equinox, and the sun's going to progressively be moving northward as we move towards the summer solstice. So it's this time in the north, anyway, of bright new beginnings. And in the medicine wheel tradition, it represents the eastern direction, which is the place of the rising sun, the place of spring equinox, new beginnings, initiation. Because it's like, the symbol of Aries is that the ram moving forward. So it's like initiation of new energy into new projects, new territories. So we're going to start seeing that burst and movement forward within us. And just like Mother Earth right now up here in the north, her energies are burgeoning up. They're blossoming. And you might also think of it as like the Shakti energy of the goddess, that fiery creation energy, the energy of the green man, which is the life force of the earth is starting to emerge and grow within us and in the earth and all around us as we start seeing the buds on the trees, and we start contemplating with the spring equinox and then the new moon the next day. What are the seeds that you want to plant, not only in your garden for what you want to grow, but metaphorically, what are the new seeds for your life that you want to plant? New ideas, new visions. It's a great time to really focus on those seeds and to really allow yourself at the equinox to come back into sacred balance and to tune into that energy of the light and the dark, the feminine and the masculine, the Mother Earth and Father Sky as they begin that dance, to bring the earth to life in the northern hemisphere. So spring equinox is also known as Ostara in the Celtic tradition, and that's named after the Germanic goddess Ostare, who was where the word Easter came from. And she's the goddess of spring, the new dawn, new beginnings. So, and also in the, ancient myths, this time of year is the return of Persephone, where Persephone returns from the underworld where she's been, just like us. We've been in the winter season. And she's returning to the upper world. And as she comes, she helps bring new life forth. So those are some of the themes to be focusing on. and to really tune into that. What creative inspirations are bubbling up in you? What are you feeling inspired to create? Because the life force energy is like very creative energy. And Aries is also very much about the energy of I am, and really feeling your I am presence, your sovereignty, your inner truth. And I also want to say that so that's with the spring and the new moon, because the Aries new moon is very much like spring, and it's that the new the beginning of the new solar year, the beginning of the new lunar cycle, the day after equinox. So really focusing on those seed intentions is super important. Now, in the Venus cycle, which I'm very attuned to and work with, Venus is in Taurus right now. And in the larger cycle of Venus, Leo touched on, it's an 18 to 19 month cycle. And Venus goes from being just like all the other planets. It's called a synodic cycle. All the planets go through a period of being in the morning sky, in the evening sky, not being visible, being retrograde. So all those things are similar. But so in the Venus cycle, it's an 18 or 19 month cycle where Venus is visible in the morning sky. So she goes retrograde. She transforms into a new energy and a new cycle. And then she rises in the morning sky for like 6 or 7 months. And then she is in the underworld, meaning she's with the sun and not visible. She goes through her transformation in the underworld with the sun. And then she's reborn, or she ascends from the underworld, just like it's very much connected with the journey and the myth of Inanna. And she rises from the underworld and she ascends through the gateways. So in that cycle, we are in the solar plexus chakra gateway. And this Friday, which is what I wanted to talk about, this Friday, when the moon and Venus join together in Taurus, and this will be really early in the morning on Friday, they're going to join together in Taurus, and that will bring us into the heart chakra gateway. So the day before that, so we'll have the new moon on Tuesday, and then a couple days after that, when we start seeing the first crescent moon, look into the sky, the western sky, right after sunset, to see the beautiful crescent moon with Venus. It's so amazing to watch that and to really let yourself receive the codes of light, the energies from that conjunction, and feel yourself moving into your heart chakra gateway. So the heart chakra, as we know, has a lot to do with our relationships, our feeling nature, not our necessarily emotion, but feeling nature. We have our heart temple, which is where we experience love. And so this is going to be a time to really honor your heart, listen to your heart, do cleansing, clearing of your heart chakra, any old things that you no longer need, so that your heart can really be purified and reconsecrated during this time. So it'll be a whole month from the time that Venus and the moon join together again in the evening sky, and you'll be able to probably see it the day or two before, for sure the day before, the night of, and the next day, where you'll see them close together. And it's just amazing. So that's all I'm going to share of what's in terms of those cycles right now. But what I wanted to do was I pulled some cards for us from the Work Your Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. And I pulled some cards for us, for all of us, for the spring season. And it was really, it was very interesting. The very first card that I pulled was Awakening. And here's the card up here. And you see this woman floating in the air with the crescent moon there. And what this is about, and this is the guidance that I wanted to share with you and for all of us for this spring season and the new lunar cycle, is it has a lot to do with energy upgrades and a new way of being and integration. So take the time now to just surrender. And so you can just receive the new awakening that's coming in for you. And that will be for all of us in a different way. And what's interesting, in two of the cards that I pulled for us, both of them said, don't overthink it. Stay grounded and just be really open and receptive. So this card of awakening is to help us remember to surrender to the awakening that's coming in your life and on our planet. And there's a beautiful little prayer at the end that I just want to read. And that's, I surrender to my awakening. I allow the Shakti energy to rise up from the base of my spine. I open myself up to the universe, using me in a way that delights my mind, body, and spirit. So the guidance of this card is also about looking at what ways are you being called to serve, maybe in a new way. And really, how are you part of the new awakening on our planet? Because we're in the midst of a great spiritual awakening as the old world dismantles. You could say the old patriarchy, the old age, as all that shifts and changes, we are in a grand awakening on our planet into the new earth and the new golden age, or the age of Aquarius. So it's a very powerful time, but we need to allow ourselves to surrender to that great awakening. So that was that one card. And then the next card I pulled, which was really funny. I pulled this, I think, last time or the time before, and this one is the card of Mirror. And what I did was that I picked this card for us, and I said, no, that's not right. So I put it back in the deck and I picked it again. So I knew, okay, this is really for us. So the Mirror card is all about the guidance, and the wisdom of this card is that anything that triggers you in your life, in your relationships, even out in the greater world, is a mirror. And to really look at things that way, whatever's triggering you, what is it mirroring and reflecting back to you about you and something inside yourself? If there's war on the planet that's triggering you, it's asking you to look at this guidance is to look at, how do you still have conflict and war within yourself? Because ultimately, the outer wars, the outer conflicts mirror our own inner conflicts. And to truly have peace on our planet, we have to transmute and transform and integrate our polarized parts of ourselves. We have to integrate and come into peace within ourselves. So that's what that card has to do with, is really looking at everything as a mirror. It's one of the universal laws, is the law of reflection. Everything is reflecting back to us some part of ourself that needs healing or love or compassion or whatever it is. Even if it's a trigger and it's difficult, there's always a lesson in it. And the third card I pulled, which is really beautiful, it's called Answer the Call. And this is all about listening deeply to your soul's yearnings, your soul's longings, your soul's callings. And this is not just for right now, but for your whole life. What is your soul being called to do in the world? What gifts do you have you want to bring forth? And again, this card was also reminding us to not overthink it, but to just naturally be attuned to your yearnings, where your heart and soul feel inspired, and to really listen to that, because that's part of our soul's calling, and to really trust your inner guidance, and that you have a lot of wisdom within you, and that you can easily tune into that deeper soul's calling. So before I do the meditation, there was one I got guided to pull one more card, and this is from the Rose Oracle. And this card was all about the child within, and really allowing yourself to soften and to nurture and love the child within you. And we are all children of the earth and the stars, and how important it is to really love and honor that inner child, and to bring nurturing and softness to soften into the inner child and that divine child that we are, because we're all part of source. We're naturally part of source. And we've learned, a lot of us are so hard on ourselves, and it's so important for us to bring compassion and love and nurturing and tenderness and grace to ourselves and to our inner child. We might have a lot of wounds that we're still healing. So how can you bring that love and tenderness to yourself during this time and on our planet, with all that's going on in our world? And seeing the child in all beings, even those that are angry, seeing their hurt, angry inner child are coming out. Even the wars is coming from this place of lack of love. And so use this time to look at that. And so that's what the cards were calling us to pay attention to for this spring season and the new moon. And I'm just grabbing my crystalline wand. And so we're just going to do a short little meditation for about 5 minutes to just really feel these energies of the spring that's coming in, and the last couple days of Pisces, where we're going to surrender. So we're just going to call in all the guides and guardians of the 4 directions, calling to Great Spirit, Universal Source, Mother Earth, and just tuning into our heart centers. Within our hearts, we have a beautiful flame, actually triple flames of our divine love, our divine light, and our divine power. And just feeling and breathing into those sacred flames within your heart. And just feeling, what are those old or heavy energies that you're ready to release now? At the end of the lunar and solar cycle, in these last couple days of Pisces, how can you surrender and just let those go? What is the heaviness you've accumulated over the winter season that you want to release? Anything that's old that needs to be cut away so the new life can come forth and be born within you. And just feel yourself beginning to release and shed the heaviness of winter. Cutting away the deadness from the last year in your life, in your garden. So the green new buds can come forth. And then feeling us as we draw ever so close to the spring equinox, as the sun is near the equator, and just feeling that energy of balance, or noticing how you might be off balance and you might need to come back into balance, and just noticing that. And in a way, the equinox is like that balance point, that midpoint between the polarities and the opposites, between the opposites of light and dark, yin and yang. So just feeling that within you, with your heart as the center. Not one is better or lesser than the other, but just feeling that coming into balance within you. And then become aware now of the soil of your soul. What are the new seeds you're ready to plant? And just allow the creative life force energy of spring to inform you. What little seedlings are stirring and ready to sprout and come into life within you? So at this equinox and at the new moon, do a ceremony or journal about what are these seeds that you want to plant for your own life, for your relationships, your own spiritual path, and also for the new earth. What are your seed visions? And plant them with tenderness and care. And remember to water them through the spring season, to tend them, to send them energy and light. So I encourage you to do that over the next week or so, really planting those seeds and tuning in and putting those intentions and prayers out into the unified field, the quantum field, where they get magnified and that connects with the whole unity of all life. So I leave you with that and just have you come back now so Leo can come on so we can just close our show for today.
Thank you, Deb. It was beautiful. Beautiful with those cards, messages from the cards, a beautiful meditation. Everybody, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Deb, are you going to be with us in 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks, I won't be.
Okay.
Unless we end up doing a show next week instead, I can be there. But in 2 weeks, I won't be there.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll adjust things so I can be there. And I guess Leo, if anyone wants to reach Leo, you can reach him at leoknightontallarico.com or at Solus, SOULUS at AOL.com. And you can reach me at Gaia Sophia templeoftheheart.com. That's my website, Gaia Sophia templeoftheheart.com. And my email is Elelia, Elelia, which is my spiritual name, at Gaia Sophia Temple of the Heart. And soon this year, hopefully not too far from now, we'll be having our new Spiritual Renaissance website.
Yes, thank you.
Visit. And those are some of the seeds I'm planting right now, is for all these new, for our new website.
That sounds wonderful. I can't wait for that. Everybody, wonderful being with you. And we'll talk to you soon. 2 weeks for sure. Possibility in a week, we'll see. Take care. Love
and
you
happy. And I just want to say happy equinox. May you open your heart to receive the blessings, and happy new moon soon too. And Venus Heart Gateway. So much love to everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Wow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.